Sun and Fun 2021. Oh yeah, aren't we having fun? So I thought Mod Podge would be great, and maybe I didn't go and get rid of all the release agent, but this is kind of doing what Elmer's glue is expected to do. I'm not real happy with this. Yeah, I think I just prefer primer. Wow. This peels off easier than the decals that were originally put on at the factory. That's saying something, because those came off fairly easy. They were not put on with any care. So wow, another lesson learned, huh? Good thing I figured it out. Well, so stay tuned. We're going to see some primer on this today. Yes, we are. Oh, wow. And my wheels are in the mail. Haha, they're on their way. I just love how, while pulling this Mod Podge up, it is pulling up a silver and also apparently some red that was on there before. Both of which are acting like latex. I mean, look at this. Stretchable. And I don't think that's just because it's got Mod Podge on it. I think it's the type of paint they used. But this paint will sand off or flake off in contrast to this behavior. It's just interesting. Most of this Mod Podge is coming right off, which I guess is a good thing. I learned my lesson, and I'm not having to pay heavy consequences, which is always nice. So there are other techniques for getting paint off if you need to, which in this case I'm kind of screwed if I don't, because what you need is a sticky substrate. Sticky, very sticky. And this one can't be sticky while it's got this crappy paint on it. Now if you're worried about feathering or scraping a little too much foam, that's fine. That's all going to be filled in with whatever you choose to fill it with. Foam coat, epoxy, or just straight layers of primer paint. There's all kinds of different primers. But you see how I'm just going one way and then the other, and it just disturbs this paint enough to where it kind of falls off, or chips off, like I told you earlier. With the Mod Podge, though, you run into a little bit of heavy area with the Mod Podge on it, and it's a little harder to get off, but I think it's enjoying its little shave. So anyway, a sideways razor blade is a good tool on a lot of substrates to get like leftover adhesive off. Remember we talked early on about pulling the adhesive, pulling the decals on the deboxing video. Well, sometimes when you pull a decal, it'll leave behind adhesive. You can get that adhesive off with a razor blade. Sometimes you can just use it this way. Sometimes you have to drag it this way. Sometimes you have to drag it this way. There's a lot of differences. But these tools can be used for a lot more than just cutting. Scraping, disturbing this surface. See that? The styrofoam underneath says, yes, get rid of this. And the paint is like, yeah, I don't know what even I am. Am I paint? Am I ink? I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here, man. So that's just 20 seconds more of aggressive scraping. You can see the cells are still intact. They do show a bit of fuzz. Some of it's paint. You can see the hairs. Those are styrofoam hairs. They will be sanded out eventually as I get coats of primer going. Pretty. So this little snake is losing its color quite rapidly. Yeah. I'm just using a little 220 to clean it up afterwards. Also, guys, when you're taping up a box for shipping or for storage, just putting tape on it is not enough. You have to burnish the tape. And when you burnish the tape, it does not change color, but what it does is forces all the air bubbles out and marries the tape to the substrate, whatever that substrate may be. Some get married and they're much better unions than others. But burnishing is usually done with the fingernail, the top of your finger, because it doesn't have oil on it. It's, you know, perfect thing to burnish with. This is old tape, but I just want to show you. Like, this is brand new tape, just put on here. The main reason to put it on here was to hold the sides together. But now if I go to burnish it, you'll see it doesn't change color, but it changes opacity rating. Okay. Now you can see the box more clearly through it because they have been married, and that the tape is so close there's no room for air. It's A-I-R, air. Now it just looks like, wow, cardboard. Oh no, there's a piece of tape on there. How can you tell? Because you can feel matte and shiny, gloss, difference in texture, but that's how you burnish tape. This tape is not burnished. You can still see some air. So if I burnish it, it's subtle, but you can see the difference when there's air bubbles underneath or air pockets. And that is a more secure way of putting tape on a box. It takes a couple minutes longer, but your loved one or friend will receive their gift undamaged and unopened. What is exactly special? Guess what came in the mail? Hey, E-Flite, which one of these looks like a real tire? Here's what I really like. When you get these Robart model aircraft scale wheels, they give you adapters -3. So I was able to squeeze 2 of these spacers or bushings onto an axle, which is, it's very tight. I can't even get this thing to roll and turn. Okay. So they don't work, as somebody already reported on YouTube. I can't turn it, and maybe that's good to have some wheel rolling resistance instead of brakes, but I need a little more motion than that. So I'm either going to work on drilling out these spacers, which they only gave me one more that I could use, which is this one right here. These are useless here. This one I can use, but where's its mate? Somebody at the Robart factory decided, oh, I need one of those, so I'll steal it out of a package. Well, I managed to get both wheels on the struts for the main gear. I'll get the nose gear on later after I've dealt with the nose gear issue. They still aren't rolling like I want them to, but they might provide just enough resistance for good braking on the ground, especially for my maiden. Okay, so I did some sanding yesterday on the airframe, and I started doing some primer as well, but I ran out of primer, so I got to make a primer run. Meanwhile, I'm doing some more sanding on the wheel pants. They're almost ready for final paint. which will be several coats and then clear. Of course, Sun and Fun 2021, just to get us aviators inspired, get out there and take these aircraft to the skies, breaking the bounds of Earth. Gentlemen and ladies, you will see me on the next one.
I found the missing spacers.